If there is one thing we know about Dragon Ball, it's that it is the story of Goku. But at the beginning of Z, Goku has become older and his son Gohan has been gaining much more of the spotlight until he reaches his climax at the end of the Android arc. But when the Majin Buu arc begins, Gohan is now older and the story demands for a new lead child, and we got that in the form of the not so well received Goten. When I was younger, Goten was one of my favorite characters because he looked like Goku, but he was much stronger than him as a kid, and he could fuse into Gotenks. From a subconscious level, I could relate to him because I was a kid too, and he was so happy-go-lucky. My younger self never really cared for Gohan because of how much of a crybaby he was at first. I never really saw it as character development when he went from that into a brave warrior. The fact that Goten seemed like the fearless kid who can go Super Saiyan was very appealing to my still developing mind. Now that I'm older, I don't necessarily hate him, but I just don't have the same love for him because I thought more of him than he actually is. After Super Buu kills his mom, we see him become much more serious, but then he later reverts to his normal self who just wants to goof off. That is a major slap in the face towards the audience. Why do you need to tease us like this? We finally believe Goten is ready to kick ass. Next time he sees Majin Buu, he's gonna make him pay for what he did to his mom. Why include the potential development Goten could have had, but then toss it aside like it never happened? I understand if it's not in Goten's nature to not care for fighting, but he should care in these circumstances. He may be just a child, but he can't be so ignorant that he doesn't know what's happening. His mom died right in front of him, and the entire planet is at risk of being destroyed. He treats it as if it were a game, as if there are no consequences for his actions. My main issue with him though is the significance he once had on the story. From his introduction, we were able to conclude that he's a plethora of times more powerful than Goku and Gohan when they were his age, and on top of that, he was able to go Super Saiyan relatively easily. Now I can't neglect the fact that there is a group of people who hate Goten, going as far as calling him a copy and paste to Goku, and how it's dumb that he can go Super Saiyan no problem. If you're one of them, I'm not judging you for your opinion, but you can't refute the fact that he is a half-breed, and half-breed Saiyans are known to have much more potential than full-blooded Saiyans. And to go Super Saiyan, you need to be a Saiyan who is pure of heart. Well, Goten is just a kid. All he wants to do is play, and whenever we see him, he usually has a smile on his face. All he really knows in the world is whatever Chi-Chi and Gohan exposed him to, which doesn't seem like much considering how oblivious he is. His obliviousness is due to the fact of how little he understands of the world. There's nothing really negative that goes on in his life at this point in time. The only possible negativity in his life right now is growing up without a dad. With all the memes going around about how bad of a father Goku is, as bad as it may sound, it's probably best Goku wasn't around for a while to raise Goten. Even so, he had Gohan, who is much better to suit the father figure role than Goku. Goten started off strong in the Majin Buu arc. Gohan acknowledged his strength, he and Trunks were almost equal, and they could fuse to form Gotenks. They were said to be the saviors of the Earth. Goku had his spotlight in the Saiyan and Frieza arc, Gohan had his in the Cell arc, and now it's Goten's turn to shine in the limelight. In order to achieve Super Saiyan 3, Goku had to train in Otherworld, and since he didn't have a physical body, he didn't have to worry about stamina or anything like that. But after watching him do it, Gotenks was able to do it as well. He can't hold the form long either, and in fact Super Saiyan 3 actually drains the duration of fusion even quicker, because of how much energy it uses. But the fact that he is a half-breed lets him have more potential than Goku, which is why he was able to do it much more easily. However, Goten is not the savior of the Earth. He and Trunks were just there to stall Super Buu until Gohan arrives, and to be honest, I was perfectly content with Gohan saving the world. But then, Goku saves the day. I don't have a problem with Goku saving the day, but it was established at the beginning of this arc that the kid would be doing it. He hasn't done anything major to disappoint me yet, but out of the 5 original Super Saiyan roster, he is the black sheep. All of the other Saiyans at least have character development. However, Goten is just there. Goku is the main character. Vegeta goes from this brute savage into a real family man. Gohan transforms from zero to hero, and even Trunks has future Trunks. And future Trunks is pretty badass. The farthest his character goes is the fact that he looks like Goku, and that he can fuse into Gotenks. Aside from that, he doesn't bring anything new to the table. Dragon Ball Super is where his character has taken a turn for the worst in my opinion. He went from this kid that can handle his own to nothing more than an ordinary child. He doesn't do anything. nor gain any character development and a side story or nothing like that. At least Kid Trunks gains character development with Mai and his future self during the Goku Black arc. Goten went from being this unimaginably strong child who has to save the world to nothing more than Trunks' friend. He's that kid in class where someone asks you, "Hey, you know Goten?" And you say, "Who?" And they respond with, "Goten, Trunks' friend." And you're like, "Oh yeah, that guy." I'm not trying to be funny, but this is really the best example I can think of to describe Goten. He's just there and doesn't do anything. People say that he's just a kid and what do I want him to do? But there are two things I can think of when I hear that. One is that he's already been put in a dangerous situation, so why not do it again? He can clearly handle his own. The second is that Gohan had to be put in a dangerous situation as well, but at an even younger age. And on top of that, if they fail, their universe is going to be erased. If Gohan can be included for a threat that is much more minuscule, then why can't Goten be included for a larger threat? He's stronger than Krillin, he's stronger than Tien, he's stronger than Master Roshi. The fact that they neglect Goten is really disappointing. He's been reduced to nothing more than a mere useless child. At least in GT, he became his own defining character. He was a real stud. Toriyama even went as far as to change his character design at the end of Z because of how strikingly similar he looked to Goku. Unfortunately, Goten doesn't have any impressive feats. I don't know if fusion counts because Gotenks is him, but at the same time it's not him. The most we see from him is in the Broly Second Coming movie. However, that is non-canon, so it doesn't count. It saddens me to say this, but the truth is that he doesn't live up to the legacy that is Goku and Gohan. We see them start their journey as children and how it molds them into the people that they become now. However, Goten doesn't go through the same thing as them. His journey is scrapped halfway through and then his character begins to digress to nothing more than an ordinary child once more. All he really does nowadays is latch onto the three characters he's affiliated with the most: Goku, Gohan, and Trunks. He's living in their shadows, and I just hope he gets something to develop his character. I'm not asking for much. I'm not saying he has to defeat a certain type of villain or prove his worth as a fighter, but maybe a side story so that we may delve deeper into his character, like Trunks received at least. And I don't mean anything like the first episode of Super. He's just getting some water and doing stuff that a kid would do. That's not development. That's just having an idea of what Goten does in his life. It's not anything new. That's like having an episode of watching Goku train and nothing else. It's not developing his character, nor bringing anything new to the table. We already been knowing this about Goku. It's one of his defining traits. I may be nitpicking now at this point, but there is a scene in the first episode of Super where Goten and Trunks are fleeing from a dinosaur. And this is what I mean when I say the significance he once had no longer exists. He went from taking on Super Buu, the guy that even Goku didn't want to mess with, Goku, the guy who loves to fight strong opponents, to running away from a dinosaur. A dinosaur is scary. I would run for my life too if I saw one. However, Goten has superhuman strength, he can fly, shoot ki blasts, and even go Super Saiyan. A dinosaur to him should be like fighting a newborn puppy to me. I just don't understand how you can go from challenging Majin Buu, this being who can destroy a planet with a flick of the wrist, and threatens the entire universe, to running away from a dinosaur. Had Dragon Ball Super not taken place, I wouldn't have nowhere near as many problems as I do with him now. He's a pansy, he doesn't gain any development, the significance he once had in the story is being ignored like it never happened, and he can't live up to Goku and Gohan's reputation. Without Goku, Gohan, and Trunks, Goten is nothing. He has no character outside of them, and that's why he is disappointing. If he gains any development, I don't want it to be in filler. It only exists to stall. At least GT, he became his own man. He's his own character and he can stand on his own with a few defining traits. Well, that's all I really had to say, and I appreciate to hear what you think as well. Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Do you think his character is defined the way it is, or can it be expanded upon? Well, thanks for watching. Later.